Hi, my name is Junko Nakamura, and I have been in the video game industry for about 16 years now. When I was a child, I actually made my first board game when I think I was 6 years old. And I used a pen on a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I thought using a pen is very grown up. So I made my fancy board game, and really all I wanted to do was entertain my best friend. The whole motivation was for me to be able to entertain my best friend, and I thought that being able to play a board game with her would be tremendously fun. It was okay. She thought it was just okay, but that I guess that little nugget of wanting to entertain has always kind of been within me and kind of growing as I ventured on into adulthood. Sorry. When I was just out of college, I studied psychology with a minor in architecture. I wasn't really sure where to go. I wasn't necessarily ready to become a psychologist just yet. I felt a little too inexperienced and young. And my experience with architecture was more to be desired. I went through a little bit of a traumatic experience with my professors. And so from there, I did a bit of soul seeking, and I always wanted to be in video games, but it wasn't necessarily a path that was clear for me. Having grown up with traditional Asian parents, it's very difficult to justify wanting to be in something creative. So I was trying to pursue positions in companies where I could utilize my Japanese bilingual skills. So that sent me on a strange journey of working at the airport as a cargo airline agent, booking cargo, or working on MSG products as a marketing assistant. It was really interesting, but I like to think that everything that I have experienced thus far is part of who I am today. So I look back at everything fondly, even if it was traumatic. I still learned from it. So the way that I got into video games was when I was kind of tired of doing the random positions, random roles in the cargo airlines and whatnot. I decided to take another look at the employment ads. And it just so happened that Activision was looking for a QA tester. So in 2005, I decided to just take that pay cut and go work minimum wage at Activision and just do QA. I figured it would be a step in the right direction, and I was right. So my first game that I tested was the Fantastic Four. That was available on the PS2 and the GameCube and all those old consoles. It was a lot of fun. It was my first experience in the industry, and I learned a lot from the ground up, I guess. It's everybody looks at the QA role as just the bottom level where people just test games all day. But for me, it was very much a learning experience. And from there, I quickly was able to jump to different positions within the industry. And that was Namco Bandai was next. Actually, it was still Namco at the time, Namco Home Tech. And my friend was already working there, and he thought that this position for localization producer would be a good fit for me. So I decided to apply, got in, and that kind of perpetuated my career. So that kind of solidified my determination to continue going with my passion, which was video games and entertaining people. And there I learned how to localize products and produce as well. I translated some video games from Japanese into English and provided feedback on character development and things like that. I also was able to produce my own title, which was called Wii Cheer on the Wii, and it was a rhythm game that I very much loved. Rhythm games are my thing, so when another opportunity came up to work on Guitar Hero, that's when I went back to Activision to work on that franchise. It was a lot of fun. I met so many great people throughout the years, and they've just become great friends. And I feel like our industry is so tight that we've become more like forever friends, some family. It's great. I love it. Once I was at Activision, I worked on Guitar Hero, and there it was around the time when mobile games was starting to come into play, and the industry was kind of shifting and not necessarily transitioning. The console games are still around, but the mobile games are definitely coming up into more prominence. And so I took the first opportunity to be able to work on Guitar Hero for the iPhone, which was the first of its kind for Activision, which was a lot of fun. Also a lot of learning experience there. And from there, I was able to move over to EA Mobile, where I met Audria. And had the pleasure of working on The Simpsons Tapped Out, another first for that company. I believe it was one of their first land building type games. And with such a great franchise, it was a lot of fun just being able to work with a licensor, and so a lot of work. It was very challenging, but still very much fun. And let's see, from there, gosh, I've had the honor to work on a Sony product, which was actually the PlayStation 4. When I left EA, I jumped over to Sony, and have always been a Sony fangirl ever since I was a child. I don't know what it is. I just love the product so much. So when I was able to work on the PS4 UI, I jumped at the opportunity. So I was able to work with some really talented designers and visual artists and just engineers and a whole slew of people to work on the what's new user interface that you see on the PS4, as well as handle all of the text strings. There were a lot of text strings, and I had a little bit of localization experience, so that kind of came into play. From Sony, I came back to Los Angeles because Sony was in the Bay Area, and I went to, actually, I decided to work contract for Ice Jam. And that is a studio that was started by a studio head that worked on the Simpsons title at EA. He actually had another studio called Byte Games, and he actually sold his company to EA. And so after a few years, he decided to start up a different studio called Ice Jam. And he is extremely innovative, and I think he has experience in robotics, so very smart person. And I figured it would be great if I could kind of glean some kind of knowledge from him. And so I worked contract. They are actually located in Canada, but I worked remotely with them for a while. And after a few months, it looked like it wasn't necessarily panning out for me. So I decided to move over to Age of Learning. And it seems like my experience is just all over the place, but I'm still very grateful that I've had all of these opportunities. And Age of Learning is very different from anything else that I've done so far. Children's games, they make ABC Mouse. It was very interesting to see the thought process that goes into making a child's game on the web and as well as mobile. My motivation is to continue entertaining people, to be able to bring joy to others, I guess, and enjoy myself at the same time. Like, I like having fun. I'm a goofball, so. I would say keep on it. Don't let anyone else discourage you from following your passions. There are going to be a lot of naysayers. A lot of people are going to be against you at times, but keep pushing towards it. It's what you love, and it's going to pan out. It might take a while, but you're going to get there.